Fist flying, no bounds. Podcast kings, we pound for pound. UFC thrills, stills nights get loud. Big EQB, that's how we get down.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the GRP. Back at it again to talk about all the happenings of the last weekend and what's coming up this weekend. Last weekend, unless you were living under a rock, you know that Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson happened. And by now, you probably know what happened in that fight. So we got to discuss that a little bit and just talk about the disappointing moment of the entire thing, which was kind of the entire thing. I hate to say, as far as that fight goes, the other fights on the card were not bad, but that fight was very underwhelming and it sucked, and it proved a bunch of the haters right, and that sucks even more. Just because sometimes I want to be like, can you just shut the fuck up and let the event happen? But I guess if we didn't talk about it, my show wouldn't be my show. So it's just sometimes, man, the ignorance is ridiculous. Like, I get it. You don't like this person. You don't like that person. But fucking get over yourself. You're not the one that's right. You don't know it all. And neither do I. So I was going to say something more mean than that, but I decided not to. Yeah, neither do I. So that's the thing. All of us are just guessing out here. You know what I mean? Like, even the big shots that may know something might not know something. Jake Paul likes to play games. Mike Tyson was just there, unfortunately, throughout the whole week. Besides when he woke up and slapped the shit out of Jake Paul. And everyone's like, that was fake, that was staged, blah, blah, blah. Regardless of whether or not Jake Paul knew he was going to get slapped, he still got the shit slapped out of him. And that was funny. So stick around because I got the pictures and we got to talk about that one. But other than that, some good undercard fights on that. But Netflix, what a fucking letdown, huh? They got some work to do. Good thing nobody had to pay for it unless you paid to get the subscription because you didn't have it before. But that's like the rare person that doesn't know somebody that has Netflix, or you don't have it yourself, or you're not sharing somebody's password. There's always a way. And if not, you illegally streamed it, which is kind of dumb when you could just get it on Netflix. Most people have Netflix these days. So Infinity, the slap was the highlight. It definitely was, unfortunately. But yeah, we also had a good UFC card. I mean, I'm always talking shit about the decisions. There was a lot of decisions on that card, but overall, I thought there were some exciting fights. I heard a lot of mixed opinions on how UFC 309 went down and what, the fights were or how good they were. And everything else. This weekend was just full of fucking nonsense, which is fine. But for some reason, it was just so annoying this time. I mean, it usually is, right? Like, everyone thinks they know everything and fucking nobody can make up their mind with all the people that talk about it, that get all the views and watch everything. But sometimes I feel like we just got to take it for what it is, man. Like, but everyone's going to complain. I don't know why I even bother with it. But I just get annoyed sometimes because, it's like, if you want to talk about it, then you got to be open to talk about it. You can't just, like, people were just like, it's rigged. I don't give a shit. It's rigged. Like, all right, then I'm not going to talk to you about it because that's just dumb. And then other people were just so opinionated on one side or the other, which I understand as well. You're a fan. The nostalgic part of Mike Tyson, believe me, I wanted Mike Tyson to fucking knock Jake Paul the fuck out. I respect Jake Paul for the work he's put in and where he's gotten himself with boxing and everything. But mostly, more than anything, it's for the good stuff he's done for the boxers that are always on his undercard, especially the women, Amanda Serrano, Katie Taylor, just putting on events like that, man, that puts it out there. And you got to respect the guy for, wanting to put the other fighters on the forefront, even though a lot of people thought that should have been the main event, and I understand that as well. But Mike Tyson is an icon, so to not put him in the main event would kind of be disrespectful to him. So I'm going to talk a lot about the hypocrisies and just dumb shit that people said and went back on, said it and went back on. Only because it's just funny to point it out, because I'm just like, God damn, this shit's just blatant and obvious. But that's all right. I mean, like I said, if that wasn't happening, it wouldn't be so fun to talk about, I guess. So yeah, I had a busy weekend trying to watch the fights while playing poker. Not a good idea. So I mean, I had my buddy's like poker night for his birthday, and I don't mind doing that at all whatsoever. But people were getting crazy just because the stream was sucked, and I turned it on my phone. Next thing you know, because I don't have a regular phone. I have a Galaxy Z Fold. So I mean, that's my screen. It's not just this like a regular phone. It's this. So everyone saw that I had my phone open, and instead of playing poker, everyone's crowding around over my shoulder because my phone was working and the damn TV wasn't. Come to find out, that was everybody's problem. If you watched it on a tablet or a phone, it was fine. Except for some pixelation here and there. You know, the resolution wasn't great. But, you know, you try to watch it on your TV and it was like, what the fuck is happening here? It's like I'm trying to watch porn back in the day when it was all scrambled. When you weren't supposed to be. But I mean, it was bad. It was bad. Netflix better get their shit together before, you know, they have WWE coming up next in January, like the 2nd, like right away in the beginning of January, they have WWE. And I know maybe that's obviously not going to be as big as this was, but damn, there's still a lot of people that watch that shit. They have a big viewership, and if Netflix is going to keep this up, I think they need to make sure that they have a better infrastructure built out for all of it, because you know they may be one-offs, but when you get these big events that people are counting on, holy shit, are you going to get hate if it doesn't go down correctly? So yeah, that was a big problem. But yeah, trying to play poker. I mean, I got 3rd place out of everybody playing. So I mean, I won the money I put in plus a little bit more, no big deal. Sometimes playing with people you don't know can be a problem, and it was. I stated my my dislike for a person's playing during the game. So and then someone in the group who never gets upset got really upset with this person as well. So I feel a little bit justified in being a big mouth. But sometimes I'm the guy that will say something and when other people won't. And sometimes I don't want to say stuff because I'm always the guy that says shit. But this time it had to be said. I made my feelings known, and the idiot had the nerve to be like, "You have a problem with me or something? What's wrong?" I'm like, "Bro, I said it when you made this stupid play that was fucking dumb and kind of disrespectful to everybody." But he didn't get the point. Other people helped push that point through, so it's funny. Either way, I got 3rd place. It was a long night of poker. I mean, we went through the entire Jake Paul Mike Tyson fight and then some, and drinking the whole time. Was fine. It's no big deal. But I woke up the next day and I didn't feel so great. But then I had to get my shit together for UFC 309, and I tried to do a different thing for content. It didn't really work out, and I'm kind of upset by that. Maybe I should have done a little more testing. Maybe I should have, I don't know. I could have done a bunch of different things. I didn't account for the lighting, and I didn't want to flash a bunch of big bright lights in front of the people at my house when they're not used to that. I sit here with these bright ass lights all the time in my face. I mean, you can see right there is one of them. Or you can see both of them. Big bright lights in your face. just to get good lighting. And I didn't want to do that to everybody, so I didn't. And I also didn't want to move all these fucking lights from out of here. So I was like, oh, well, it is what it is. But yeah, it didn't work out so well. Right now, I feel like my camera. There we go. Yeah, there we go. How much did Mike get paid to lose? Here we go. Cold, what's up, Cold Art Maker? Well, he got paid. The disclosed purse for Mike Tyson was 20 mil. Maybe he got more than that. I don't know. But I don't think that I don't think he lost on purpose, but I do think he could have gotten lucky a few times and landed some shit, but I do think they held back a little bit. That's the only thing I'll say. I'm not going to sit here and be like, it's fucking rigged, because that's what everybody's saying. And it's annoying. But I get it. I understand why, because the event doesn't do anything for itself to defend itself against that. It was a fluke. It was horrible. If it was competitive and fun and entertaining, people would still say it's fucking rigged. But at least you could have had something to go off of or defend it, right? But you can't, because it was horrible. So yeah, fucking everyone's gonna say it's rigged, and I get it. I'm not completely against that thought, I guess. But yeah, I mean, see, yeah, no uppercuts. I understand that too. I mean, I don't even know what else to say, because we're just sit here and talk about all of the things. That's the thing. Social media is a hell of a thing, and you're gonna find the official documents. That you're gonna find the official script. You're gonna find that this person said that and that person said this and blah blah blah. Yeah, who knows what to believe anymore? So, hey, Cremo, hey, shit, that's a take I didn't think you'd have, bro. He said Tyson got wore out, plain and simple. Yeah, that's dude. You cannot deny how fucking tired Mike Tyson was. So that is the big thing, and whether he could have done more in that first round and a half or not, it can be left up for debate. But he got tired, and there's no denying that. So yeah, we'll get into it a little more here in just a minute. But yeah, and then I went and played golf on Sunday again for my buddy's birthday, because he's a diva, I guess. We all know Clark. I'm gonna name him because we all know Clark. He's been on this show before, and he wanted to, take up our weekend with his birthday stuff. But which is fine. I love the guy. I have much love for him, so it's no big deal. But we did go play golf. We probably would have anyway on this weekend. So we played golf. We played absolutely atrocious, just horrible golf. I wanted to quit by about the 12th hole. I was like, fuck all of this. I almost threw my clubs a couple times. I lost a lot of balls. I fucking suck. Plain and simple. I have not been playing good golf lately, and it pisses me the fuck off. And if I had more time, I'd be at the driving range all the time. But between work and podcast prep and podcasting, there's not a lot of time for that. And on the weekend, sometimes I just want to chill. And that's what this weekend's going to be. I have zero plans this weekend. I don't want to have any plans. But if I get a wild hair up my ass, I might go to the driving range and work on some shit, because I definitely need it. So, yeah, I can't even get as lucky as Happy Gilmore Infinity. But yeah, I was acting like him when I didn't get my way. I was throwing a little fit because I sucked horribly. So enough of that. Enough of the bitching and complaining about everything else. Now let's bitch and complain about Jake Paul and Mike Tyson officially, as we go through the entire, well, not the entire event, but the event. Oh, what's up, Cremo? He didn't say hi, so now he's saying hi. Appreciate that, bro. Thanks for everybody being in the chat. If you're not already subscribed, please make sure you do that. Feel free to jump in. I acknowledge the chat, as long as you're not being a complete moron. And I'm sure Rick Allen will be in here in a few, being the biggest moron for everybody. But that's all right. Even him I'll acknowledge here and there. So let's get into it. And let's talk about Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson a little more in depth. This happened Friday night, of course, like I said, Netflix event. The first of many, what it sounds like, live events for combat sports. And, you know, like I said, WWE's coming to Netflix. Netflix is trying to do a lot of sports, I guess, events. Live sports events, I should say. Now we got Joe Rogan's comedy special live. We've had a few other comedy specials that were live. They've had a few live events, and from what I understand, everything else has gone off pretty well, except for the NFL stuff. I think they did some NFL stuff at some point in time. I heard earlier that wasn't great, or maybe they're planning on it. I don't fucking remember. Either way, this was the worst event ever to watch on Netflix. But what can you? I mean, what do you expect when you're getting it for free? You know what I mean? It sucks a lot when you get a UFC fight for fucking $80 every time, by the way. And if it was this bad, I mean, I won't boycott the UFC, but I sure as hell am going to try to get my fucking money back. Because damn, to pay $80 and get the shitty quality and bullshit that happened during this fight, yeah, that's completely unacceptable. So luckily that doesn't happen a lot with the UFC. Regardless, maybe it's because it's not as big as this, because I mean, you can look at the numbers, you can stating facts. No UFC's ever been as big as this. This has been one of the biggest events out there, and Mike Tyson's name is why. We all know who he is, we all know who he was, and everyone won't forget him. So it's a big name, and Jake Paul is the guy you either love or love to hate. So of course, and he's big in content. He knows how to make the content to grab the eyes and get the views, and he knows how to put on an event. That's why he has his own promotion, MVP Promotions. That's his. He's doing all this shit. So even if you want to hate him and say he sucks and he's stupid and he's dumb, he's a douche, fucking an idiot and all this other shit, the guy has a successful business with all of his content on social media and YouTube and everything else. He's boxing and making money. He's putting on great events. Well, loosely stated great events, but they're if you look at the numbers, they're great. So, and he's making people money, and that's the most important part. He's getting exposure for all these undercard fights for all these people, even though you assholes probably didn't watch it. And I don't mean that to the people that are specifically listening now, but I mean the world, because they probably didn't watch it. I was watching all the fights as they were able to be seen, because in the middle of some of the bigger fights, like the fucking Jesus Christ, now I'm blanking on the goddamn names. Barrios, god damn it, there it is. Barrios and Ramos. That fight was dope. I mean, I think it was a draw in the end, but yeah, it was a split draw, but that was a hell of a fight. Those fools went to war, and it was a badass fight for the WBC welterweight title. And yeah, so the Barrios was the title holder before. C Infinity agrees. Smart businessman, for sure. Jake Paul, that's who he's talking about. But Barrios was the WBC welterweight holder, title holder, and he kept the belt because it ended in a draw. But that was a hell of a fight. Those fools went to war, and it was good. There was another title fight, which I thought I had seen that, but I wasn't 100% sure. But Shadeja Green won the vacant WBO women's super middleweight title with a split decision victory over Melinda Watpool. So there was another title there. Goyat versus Nunes. I mean, all these fights were pretty decent for being the undercard. And a lot of people agree that the co-main event of Katie Taylor versus Amanda Serrano was the best fight of the night. So we're definitely going to cover that and get into it soon too. But back to the main event and Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. Now, I had mentioned it last week that at the press conference, but at the weigh-ins during the face-off, you know, Jake Paul tries to do his bullshit and act like Jon Jones and everyone else, and tries to like do the whole down on all fours, crawling up to Mike Tyson, and he overstepped a bit, stepped on Mike Tyson's toes, and Tyson fucking went off and slapped the shit out of him. As you can see in this picture, if you thought it was fake, maybe they planned it, but Mike Tyson got hands on him and made him look goofy as fuck as his hand slapped the shit out of Jake Paul. And if you watched it with sound on, you heard that slap. And if you watch the people holding Mike Tyson back, I don't think a bunch of security and just rando people for the promotion are that good of actors to have the fear on their face while they're trying to hold back Mike Tyson, and they're all looking around like, what the fuck just happened? So I don't know that that was part of the script, if you want to say that, but for sure Tyson slapped the shit out of him, and that was hilarious. So yeah, I mean, that was the best part of the whole thing, as we mentioned earlier. But yeah, Tyson started off great. Well, maybe not great. Okay, maybe that's a bit much, but he started off looking all right. You know, he came out kind of fast like he does normally. Forearm looks like Popeyes and pigs. True. Tyson looked pretty big. You know, with all those health problems and shit, he still looked like he was in pretty decent shape. Obviously, not the shape he used to be in. He's thick as fuck, but he's also pretty built. So, I mean, he doesn't look like in horrible condition for his age. But if you watch him try to get out of a car and shit, it's not great. He had a knee brace going in. That's not something you see a lot in boxing. Maybe in MMA and stuff, you kind of see some guys with like knee, you know, like those sleeves and shit. But you don't usually see that a lot in boxing. So yeah, he just didn't look good, man. I mean, the first round was probably the full-on best round for him. He looked pretty decent in the second round, but he still fell off at the end. And I'm looking up what Infinity's saying, that on the cards he won the first two rounds. Because I meant to look that up before. And I didn't. So I'm going to look it up now, because I am curious to see if they gave any of the rounds. So it says won with the scorecards of 80-72, 79-73, and 79-73. Okay, so some of the judges did have it with Mike Tyson winning one round. So it looks like he only won the first round, if any. There's guaranteed there's no way he won any other round but the first, if that's what they're saying, that he only one card. Let's look at if they actually show the scorecards here. CompuBox. I want to see real. Oh, here we go. No, those are the numbers. I want to see the real scorecards. So you can usually find that somewhere. And of course, I didn't do all my prep for that part. But it looks like everyone is basically showing the numbers, and by the official scores, they only gave Tyson one round, and 2 out of 3 judges did. So if he won any rounds, it was round 1, 100%, because that's the only one that he did really well in. So first 2 rounds is a bit of a stretch, but he did do well in the beginning of the second round. He came out looking pretty decent, and yeah, but that was it, man. Basically, end of the second round into the third, he just looked tired as fuck and was gasping for air, and he was doing this shit the whole night, biting at his glove. So the commentators were arguing about whether that was a mouthpiece problem or if he was biting on his gloves. And of course, the conspiracy theories are running like crazy about the fact that you know, it was a basically saying that it was a tell, or maybe communication between Mike and Jake. Like maybe Mike Tyson was saying, I'm tired, every time he was biting his gloves or something like that, or giving him the heads up of what was going to happen next. They're talking about Jake Paul turning his glove a certain way and all this other shit, right? But either way, it was fucking weird that Tyson was doing that. Apparently, according to all the experts, this is something that Tyson's done in the past with his glove, being, you know, biting it and stuff. They asked him about, Ariel Helwani asked him about it at the end of the fight, and he said, all he said was, I have a biting fixation. So, I mean, that's pretty funny considering what he did to Holyfield. I mean, he's making money off that. He had some weed gummies that were in the shape of an ear with a bite taken out of it. So that's kind of funny. But, Jesus. That'll cure it. But anyway, yeah, he was doing this the whole, you know, especially after the first couple rounds, a lot of glove biting, which was strange. But yeah, we had Jake coming out and landing punches, and everyone saying he was pulling punches. And I do believe, especially the second half of the fight, which this went, what, 8 rounds, 8 2-minute rounds. So the first few rounds, I don't think he was pulling punches really, or taking something off of those punches. But I definitely think near the end, he was, he said it himself. He was holding back because he didn't want to hurt Mike. And that's the problem with fights like this. You know what I mean? They have a lot of mutual respect for each other. Mike Tyson put Jake Paul on the undercard of his Roy Jones fight. And that's kind of what got Jake Paul started off. And, you know, Jake just idolizes Mike Tyson because of boxing and everything else. So, yeah, there's just too much respect there. It happens in the UFC too, when the guy's like, oh, he was my idol growing up. I got into MMA because of so-and-so. And then you see them actually wind up having to fight each other. And it doesn't go well because nobody wants to pull the trigger, because maybe the older guy who was being idolized can't really do anything to the younger guy because he's too fast and, you know, is too dangerous. But then the younger guy doesn't want to show off what he can really do because he feels bad and has too much respect for the older guy. So that kind of sucks, because it's like, if you're in there to fight, you're in there to fight. Show the respect afterwards. If you knock the poor guy out, you know, get on one knee, fucking, you know, say a little prayer for him, just show the respect, bow down. But maybe wait till after you actually do that, because if you do it before and you're giving a piss poor performance, like, it's cool still that you have respect for the guy, but damn, it's fucking everything up. So why did you get in there to fight in the first place? Yeah, I know. Because of money, because of this, because of that. I get it. But why would we do this then? Because, I mean, he can easily make a fight with someone else. I don't know. The content, I guess. The content, right? Can knock me out for 20 mil. Exactly. I mean, he didn't even have to get knocked out for that 20 mil either. So that's probably what pisses people off too. But yeah, the money, man. It's the money, all of it. But Jake, you know, he did land shots. Mike landed a couple on Jake as well, but obviously, like I said, first round and a half or so was it really. The rest of the time, I saw a bunch of breakdown videos about what Tyson normally does, and he was doing the kind of stutter step, feint to the, you know, body shot, overhand right shit that he's knocked tons of people out with back in the day. Maybe he just couldn't see the opening, or maybe he just didn't feel it like he thought he would. Maybe he was holding back. Maybe he didn't want to knock out Jake Paul. Maybe he was instructed not to knock out Jake Paul. Who gives a shit? It just didn't happen. And that's the bad part, is it didn't happen. But I did see, you know, because just looking at it again, watching the highlights again, you did see a couple of those opportunities that Mike Tyson would normally take and capitalize on, and he didn't. And then obviously, because Jake said it himself, there's a bunch of times where Jake could have done a lot more than he did, and he didn't, you know. But he still landed some pretty good significant strikes on Mike, as you can see here. Whether or not those were 100%, 80%, or 60% punches, he still landed them. They're using pillows because those were 14-ounce fucking gloves. But you know, it is what it is. People say he didn't look like training vids, but don't realize it's different when getting punched in the mouth. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Like you can go off on the pads, you can go off on the bags, but those don't hit back. You know, your coach could feint some shots and possibly slip one in there, but no matter what, I mean, hitting pads, you can look good hitting pads, because as long as the person holding the pads is good at holding the pads, it's like choreography. Basically, they're telling you what to throw and they're helping it pop, because they're slapping your hand as you're hitting theirs. It's gonna sound good, it's gonna look good. That's what it's meant to do. But it's also good for hand-eye coordination. It's not good for the only thing to do to fight, because then you get stuck in this rhythm and it could be good or bad. It's good for you because when you recognize that opening, you muscle memory gives you those combinations, right? But it's bad because what if you think you're just in this mindset that it's going to be there for you, it's going to be open, you're going to be able to complete that entire process of whatever combination you're going to do without getting hit in the middle of it. That's not the way it works. So you're going to look good on the pads, it's going to sound good, it's going to be fantastic, you're going to be hyped, everyone's going to love it. It's good for content, it's good for video, it's good for aesthetics. But in the fight, is it good? Not really. Not unless you can find the opening and not get hit in the process. That's why you do all the other work, right? That's why you got your head movement down, your footwork, and your defense. That's why there's, you know, the Philly shell. That's why there's shoulder rolls. That's why there's all these other things for defense, because you have to do all those things incorporated with all these combinations that you're throwing at the pads, that someone's slapping your glove against the pad. You're not just hitting a stable, sturdy pad right here. You're not just doing this. They're bringing that hand to your fist. Two things colliding. It's going to make a sound. It's going to sound fantastic. And if you're fast, it's going to look great. So if you're powerful, you're going to punch that hand backwards as it's coming forward, and you can tell the power. So, you know, there's tricks. It's tricky, but it's still a part of the game. So no matter what, the pads, the bag, they don't hit back. So like Infinity said, it's different when you're getting punched in the mouth, like Tyson is here. So in the end, Jake Paul wins. You know, he paid his respect at the end. This was the last 10 seconds, and instead of going to war like the MMA fighters do, like Max Holloway points to the ground, meets in the middle, and fucking throws haymakers till somebody gets knocked out or the bell rings. With this one, they just kind of separated, and Tyson's trying to catch his breath while Jake Paul is bowing and bowing more. So, yeah, Jake Paul gets the win by unanimous decision. Basically won every round except for possibly the first on two of the judges' scorecards. So, it's just the weird shit that came out of it, though. I guess Tyson made this statement on social media. He said, "This is one of those situations when you lost but still won. I'm grateful for last night. No regrets to get in the ring one last time." So it sounds like for sure this is his last fight, which is good because he shouldn't fight anymore if he's gonna try to fight like that again. He said, "I almost died in June, had 8 blood transfusions, lost half my blood and 25 pounds in the hospital, and had to fight to get healthy to fight, so I won. I had to fight to get healthy to fight. Oh, I had to fight to get healthy to fight, so I won. To have my children see me stand toe-to-toe and finish 8 rounds with a talented fighter half my age in front of a packed Dallas Cowboys stadium is an experience that no man has the right to ask for. Thank you." So that's good. I guess the only problem with this statement is the fact that everybody on Jake Paul's side, on his team and everybody with the promotion said that they had no idea whatsoever that he almost died. So they're kind of taken back by that. Now, of course, they could just be fucking capping or whatever, but because it doesn't sound good. You know what I mean? It doesn't sound good that he says he almost died in June and then he's here in November fighting somebody half his age in a boxing match. Like, that's just not great, especially when you look that bad. I feel like this fight should have just not happened or been postponed for like a year later so that everything was away, because it just seems weird. June, July, August, September, October, November. It's 5 months later. I mean, it's not even half a year. And, you know, but Netflix paid the money to get that event, so they had to do it, of course. So yeah, it is what it is. That's fucking it. Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson is over. You're not gonna see that shit again. So on to the next fighter that everyone's gonna say the fight's rigged. Everyone's gonna say Jake Paul doesn't fight anybody, and I get it, and I understand, and I agree to a certain extent, except for the rigged shit, because I will say maybe there's some agreements here or there, but I don't necessarily call that rigged. I call that trying to, never mind, fuck it, it's rigged, right? Maybe that doesn't make sense. It makes sense in my head to where I'm just saying, I'm not, just the whole rig thing is like just so fucking cringe. I don't know. I mean, how does Tyson, I mean not Tyson, how does Tyron Woodley, like, I don't care what amount of money to get face planted flatline like he did, like, get the fuck out of here. Who wants to do that? But maybe some people will in the name of money, I guess. Fuck it, whatever, it's over. Let's talk about the real fight that happened. Katie Taylor versus Amanda Serrano, the rematch. So I mean, they fought before on the one of Jake Paul's cards before. It was a damn good fight. They went to war then too, and everyone said Amanda Serrano got robbed in that first fight as well. And in this one, again, the robberies, right? And I kind of agree in the extent that I did feel like she did really, really well, and probably better even. The headbutts were the problem, and I mean, Katie Taylor even gets a point taken away for it. So how, with the point taken away and the fight being that close, was it not a draw? Like, I would see it being a draw better than I see it being Serrano losing. So, because I don't think Katie Taylor did so much to make it be like, no, that's obvious. You know, she obviously won even with the point taken. Her eye did look like roast beef though. That was a gigantic gash on Amanda Serrano's eye. Not the biggest we've seen. If you remember Irene Aldana at the Noche UFC, she damn near looked like she got half her face split open. So that was nasty. But for boxing, that was a pretty big cut. And you know, that's what happens with headbutts, because you know, you can get busted up, but to get a cut like that, in MMA it's more prevalent because of the elbows and shit like that, and kicks and knees, but and the smaller gloves obviously, but in boxing, you know, with those bigger gloves, they're not that much bigger, but there's definitely bigger, a lot more cushion there. You don't get cuts like that as often unless someone's really getting the shit beat out of them. So yeah, the headbutt was the thing. And hold on, where am I at? Here we go. Yeah, but I mean, she did land some great punches. Like I said, it was a really close fight. I feel like it should have been a draw. That's definitely, if not Serrano winning, because you know, if you sit down and I wanted to sit down and watch this one again. Like, I just didn't get the time at any point this week, but I wanted to sit down and watch it again just to see what I thought, like maybe score it round for round. But even then, you know, that's subjective. I don't really have a dog in the fight. I like both these women. Katie Taylor is just like one of those bigger names in women's boxing that I didn't even know about until recently, but shit, she's made a bigger name for herself and she's all over the place. And I respect her, and you know, but I do think that the headbutt thing was a problem, and it was a big problem. And I like Serrano as well. You know, she had the class to apologize for what she said and what her coach said in the post-fight interviews and stuff like that. They got a little mouthy. But yeah, I mean, here's what we're talking about with the headbutts and stuff. Like, you saw a lot of this happening, heads colliding, sometimes accidental, sometimes who knows, maybe leading with her head was just not the best idea. And Serrano should have taken advantage of that and met her in the middle with her fist. That's just, but again, it's tough. That's just something that happens when you're getting inside like that. Boxing isn't usually that close of a game, you know, unless you're tying up a lot. But when you tie up like that and you both move your head in a certain direction, you can clash heads. But this happened a little bit too much to be just accidental. It's either, you know, poor technique and awareness, or purposeful. Who knows? But as Infinity said, it's definitely a war. The fight was great. It was entertaining. If you could get through all the glitches and buffering, it was a great fight. So, but I mean, Amanda did work too, you know, some body shots. You know, she beat up Katie a bit too. Katie had a cut over her eye as well. Might have been partially from the headbutts too. She's getting cut up, but you can see a little bit of that cut there on Serrano. And big uppercut here for her. A couple of them, a hook and an uppercut, kind of, I guess. I don't know why I said upper. I named it uppercut. Why did I do that? It's not a full, whatever. Who cares? Somewhat, but yeah. I mean, Serrano definitely looked really good in this fight. She caught Taylor as much as Taylor caught her, and like I said, I feel like if nothing else, it should have been a draw. But they did give the win to Katie Taylor, regardless of the point being taken or anything like that. And you can see the disappointment in Serrano's face. And if you ask the guys that don't give a shit, for the most part, they'll all say that the star of this night was that blonde in the middle of the picture right there. She was a ring card girl, and yeah, she's got an interesting Instagram, so go take a look. I don't remember her name, but I saw it a couple times and everyone was like, who is that? So go check it out. You can find it, I'm sure. She was all over the place. So that's it. It's over. Paul versus Tyson, done. Never again. On to the next Jake Paul fight in a few months. Who knows what's going to happen. He tried to call out Canelo, but he does have Better Biev calling him out, and that's a world-class champion fighter. So boxer that's legit. So I don't know that Jake Paul's going to take that fight. I don't know why he wants to fight Canelo. I don't know what kind of agreements they'll have there, but I don't see Canelo being that guy. The money's the money, and the motherfucker makes money as right now. So I don't know that the money's going to be that big of a deal for him to make himself look stupid against a YouTube boxer or whatever you want to call him. So holy shit. I hate work today, by the way. Work sucked absolute dick today, and people suck. And that was a message from something with work, so fucking annoying. Wish he'd call out the Gypsy King. I mean, that would be entertaining, because fucking Tyson Fury is a bad motherfucker, and he will talk shit, and he will definitely make it a spectacle. I mean, just look what happened when Jake fought Tommy Fury. I mean, their dad is a goddamn animal. Actually, yesterday, there was a press conference because Tommy Fury is fighting former UFC fighter Darren Till in a boxing match in the what is the fucking organization called? Misfits Boxing, KSI's boxing promotion. So that's happening, I guess, this weekend. I don't even fucking know. All I know is Darren Till was going nuts, talking shit to the Furies, and of course John Fury flew off the handle and fucking throws a bottle or throws water at Darren Till and is throwing water bottles and shit. Everyone's trying to hold back John Fury, and Darren Till's back there just talking shit because he does talk good shit. I mean, he's got that accent, and it's hilarious. He's a Scouser, I guess. Whatever, but it's a funny accent, and he talks mad shit. So yeah, I guess that's happening this weekend, but the Furies are crazy. So yeah, if he called him out, he'd be in trouble. Let's move on to UFC 309, the real fight of the weekend. Jon Jones versus Stipe Miocic. I guess it was the real fight of the weekend. Stipe was like the Mike Tyson of this event. Not really. He wasn't that bad, but he did look old. He hasn't been in the cage for almost 4 years. It's been a long time. You know, they were supposed to fight last year, and it didn't happen because Jon Jones got injured, but it finally happened, and what everyone thought was gonna happen happened. Jon Jones wins. Knocks out Stipe, TKO really, with a body kick. So But the rest of the card was pretty good. Like I said, a lot of decisions, which is usually not a fan favorite. But when the fighters make great fights, for those to be decisions and go to war, that was it's fun and it's exciting and it's definitely worth it. So that was one of the good cards recently for the UFC. And I mean, Madison Square Garden happening in New York, you know, obviously that's a big venue, and they always put on good shows there. So when it comes down to it, Jones beat him like a mule. Oh shit. Infinity definitely got some shit to say about all these. It's funny. So yeah, but I mean, like I said, the undercard was pretty good. A lot of decisions. The prelims probably had more stoppages. Let's look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 decisions out of the 12 fights. So just over 50% were decisions. I think because we had so many in a row, like at the top of the card, in the main event, or I mean in the main card. Well, starting with the last card of the prelims, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in a row. 4 of those being the main card, the main 4 fights on the main card before we got to Jones and Miocic. So yeah, it's a lot of decisions in a row and it gets people a little tired. But these fights were pretty exciting, like I said. So I guess in the end, it wasn't that extremely bad. The interesting thing about New York, you got number 47 showing up with his fucking superheroes behind him. I mean, his entire cabinet was there basically. You see Tulsi Gabbard and RFK back there, RFK Jr. I should say. I mean, in this picture we got Dana White, Elon Musk, fucking Kid Rock, of course. But there was so many fucking people there, it was insane. And everybody was paying attention to Trump that fought, except for Charles Oliveira. That fool just straight up passed by him and was like, I don't even, like, didn't even acknowledge him, which was kind of crazy. A lot of memes and jokes going on about that. It's pretty funny. But yeah, so I mean, everybody like doing the Trump dance, pointing at him, waving at him, glazing all day. But he is the president-elect, so I mean, he's former president, about to be the new one. And yeah, I guess just coming off of the election win and everything like that, of course everyone's gonna be fucking excited. I wonder how it goes down in the back though, because we were kind of talking about this. I think we were talking about this on the Technically Unsound podcast. I think we were talking about it there, or it might have been somewhere else, but we were talking about the fact of, you know, what if some shit goes down in the crowd, you know, like there's always fights in the crowd. People get all crazy and drunk and start wanting to fight themselves. So they start fights in the crowd and shit. And it's like, how crazy is the Secret Service, especially with all the attempts on Trump? How crazy is it? I heard from some of the people that were there that were, you know, talking about it on podcasts that there was, of course, snipers set up and shit like that. You know, of course, but it's just crazy to know that at a fight like this, that would kind of shit is crazy. And it's like, I heard someone, Chael Sonnen was saying he was supposed to go down and walk a fighter out, but they wouldn't let him. And they even gave him shit about going from one level to the other, because he was like up in the box at a desk doing, you know, in between, you know, all the analyst work and stuff. But you know, he said he even got shit from the Secret Service about changing levels. But it's like, well, what about the fans? You can't control all those fans, for one, and for two, in events like that, people are all over the place at all times, in the concessions, taking a piss, taking a shit, trying to track down a beer, everything. So how do you control all that? That's crazy. And then if one little thing goes wrong, are we shutting down the fights? This shit's kind of crazy. I never thought about this until we brought it up. Infinity said we did bring it up on the podcast. So yeah, it's like, damn, that's crazy, man. I just never really thought about that, especially now though, you know, with Trump being there now, with all the attempts on him, and the fact that he's actually the new president now. He won the election and people are pissed about it. for that to go down and him to be there is kind of nuts, especially with all those other important people that he just appointed to, you know, be important people. Like, fuck, it's crazy. But it was there. They did their whole walkout. The fucking people are calling them the Republican Avengers and shit like that. Funny as hell. And I mean, Dana puts it out there, and it's a show. It was crazy, but it was fun stuff, I guess, overall. So let's get to the actual fights now. We had Eduarda Mora versus Veronica Hardy with a unanimous decision to that fight in the women's flyweight division. Eduarda Mora with the win. Busted one of my parlays right away. God damn it. Listen, in the end, I got my money back at least. I came out even. I was good. I cashed out one of them. If Michael Chandler didn't fuck up, I would have won some money. But I didn't lose money, so that's good. Then we get to We get to Oban Elliott versus Basil Hafez. This fight was dope. I mean, holy shit! For the second fight of the night, I feel like this fight should have been like the last prelim fight to move into the main card, because this shit was exciting. Oban Elliott, the Welsh gangster, fucking showing off his skills. Hafez is talented too, man, but holy shit, he got knocked the fuck out. In the 40 seconds into the third round, you know, it was a good back and forth fight up until then. Oban Elliott comes out and fucking knocks him flat out. Exciting end to that one, with Oban Elliott being the winner. And then yeah, he finished that off with some ground and pound, but you can see fucking Hafez being flat out right there. And then we get to Ramiz Brahimaj versus Mickey Gall. And a lot of people were high on Mickey Gall, saying, you know, thank God he's back. You know, he fought earlier this year, but whatever. I mean, he's been kind of off and on. Everyone was happy to see him back, but he got knocked the fuck out as well. KO by punches by Brahimaj in the first 2 minutes and 55 seconds in the first round in the men's welterweight division. So that would have fucked up my parlay, I think, as well, because I think I did bet on him. No, that was the one I skipped over that one. Who cares? Then we get to another exciting one. Marcin Tybura versus Joanna Diniz. And this was a bloody ass fucking fight, man. And you can see why here, because Tybura spent a lot of time on top, fucking beating Diniz in the head. Elbows, those fucking elbows coming down from that big boy on top, that'll do some fucking damage. And it definitely did, as you can see here with all the blood. Look at Diniz's face. Holy shit. Both of his eyes look fucked up. And right away after this fight was over, I had everyone showing me pictures on Twitter and shit from how bloody Diniz's face was. And here it is. If you're squeamish, look away. Bam. That's nasty. Holy fucking shit. I mean, that looks straight out of a horror movie. Like, what are we looking at here? And I can't believe that he tried to say he was good. He was definitely not good. He was all fucked up. But this was a TKO by Dr. Stoppage in the second round. So I mean, they were going into the second round when this was called, and that's because, I mean, they ran in at the bell to try to help him up, and as soon as they got him on his feet, they let him go, and he almost fell back down. That's when this picture was taken, I think, because I remember that look on his face, and I mean, it looks like he's ready to just spit out some blood. I mean, that is one of the most gruesome pictures. Besides, again, Irene Aldana, which I won't forget for a while, because that shit was nasty too. But Diniz got the shit kicked out of him, obviously, and that was a big win in the heavyweight division for Marcin Tybura. We get to another legend, Jim Miller. Never fought for a belt, been in contention before, but he's a badass. Fought in UFC 100, UFC 200, UFC 300. Suffered a big loss in his last fight against King Bobby Green, but he came back and he fought Damon Jackson, who is a pretty talented guy. I mean, he's kind of a creepy looking fool. Like, I don't know, it almost looks like he's wearing makeup all the time, and he's got his hair all styled and shit. It's like, bro. But I've seen him knock some fools out before. Decent fighter. But he got submitted in 2 minutes and 44 seconds into the first round. Jim Miller jumped to Gilly and sunk that shit in and finished Damon Jackson after he landed a few good punches on him as well. That happened in the lightweight division. And then just after the fight, Damon Jackson called it quits. He retires. You know, he had kind of a short career. I should check and see. He was fighting in the UFC since 2020. So like I said, not that long of a career. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 fights in the UFC. And 6 of those were losses. So he was, 5 of those were losses. Yeah. And that was his second loss in a row. I guess he just decided that was it for him. So that was over, and he got submitted in the second round, retires. And that was a good win for Jim Miller, especially with somebody who's younger than him like that and kind of, looked at as a pretty decent fighter, even though he retired after the fact. So then that brings us over to, Marcus McGee versus Jonathan Martinez went to a unanimous decision. This was somewhat of a good fight. Marcus McGee looked pretty good in the beginning. Looked like he was doing really well, putting together some good combinations and strikes. But Jonathan Martinez is known for his really, really crazy leg kicks. I mean, he puts fools on their ass with those leg kicks. Finished a couple fights by leg kicks, and he didn't start using them in the beginning right away. But once he did start using them, he was putting the hurt on Marcus McGee. But overall, McGee wound up getting the win, unanimous decision. That's in the men's bantamweight division. And that was it for that fight. And that brings us to the main card. Mauricio Rufy versus James Yontop, or Lontop. I don't even know which way it's said because I heard it both ways. But this one was a pretty good fight. Rufy, people, equate him to, Conor McGregor with his striking when he first started. But Rufy definitely put on somewhat of a clinic here. He beat the shit out of Yontop. Again, like I said, exciting fucking fight, even though it went to a decision. Rufy obviously gets the win by decision here. But look at this nasty uppercut he landed. This was like one of those, weren't sure if he landed it to the body or the chin, and then you see the different angle and you see the slow-mo, and it's like, holy shit, we got a big pop from us on that one, because that was crazy. And I couldn't believe that Yontop stayed in there and survived, but he did. But here's the damage after all of that. Look at both his eyes are damn near swollen shut. That left one for sure is swollen shut, and his whole face looks deformed. I could just imagine what he looks like right now, or a couple days later, I should say, because by now it's probably gone down quite a bit. Anyway, Mauricio Rufy with the big unanimous decision win there. That was a catchweight fight of 167. But yeah, that's it for that one. And then we had Vivian Araujo versus Karine Silva. That was kind of I don't know. I heard people saying that was one of the best fights of the night, but I don't know how, because it was a good first round and a half or so for them. Karine Silva was looking really good in the beginning, but Araujo just came out hard and just stifled her at the end. Silva was just missing a lot of punches, got beat up a little bit, winds up losing by unanimous decision to Araujo in the flyweight division for the women. And that brings us to Bo Nickel versus Paul Craig, which I was excited for this fight because Bo Nickel, undefeated, he came out with a bang, knocking out a few of his opponents, submitting them, and then he got into this little bit of a decision win pattern. I think his last couple were the decisions. Oh no, he got the submission against Cody Brundage, but that was maybe not. What the fuck am I talking about? What am I thinking of? Because this was his first decision win. That's right. Who am I confusing him with? I think it was just that against Cody Brundage, maybe he didn't look that great at first. I don't know. Maybe I got influenced by all the hate because people were booing the fuck out of him. Now his best attribute is his wrestling, right? But I mean, obviously he's gotten some TKO wins. That big knockout against Valentine Woodburn was crazy. And he's led some of his submissions with a knockdown from a punch or a kick. So I mean, he's got the striking, but he didn't use his wrestling much against Paul Craig. Now, don't get me wrong. Paul Craig is really good on the ground, really good off his back. He's got great jiu-jitsu. So maybe Bo was a little, timid because of that. But he said he felt like it was a domination on his part. If you watch the fight in the beginning, he looks very just timid. Like he, not that he's scared, but he's just very aware of what could happen. And it seemed like he was holding back a bit. Took him a while to get out of that. And then he did and landed some good strikes and, looked better throughout the fight. Definitely won, but I don't think he's full total domination like he thought. And this is the first time he's gone to decision. Before this, he was actually only gone to, a couple minutes into the second round. Every one of his other fights were first round finishes. So, yeah. Still undefeated, 7-0 now, and still looking good. And I think that he's gonna definitely get a step up. I think Paul Craig was a step up already in competition. I mean, Cody Brundage was a little bit better than what he had before. Valentine Woodburn, no one really knew. Jamie Pickett, yeah, we know who he is, but not a big name. Before that was the Contender Series. So, I mean, this puts him at 4-0 in the UFC, undefeated overall as well, and still working his way up. So, I don't know what all the hate's about. I don't get it, but he got booed like crazy, and everyone's hating on him, but it is what it is. In the end, he gets the win. He looked pretty decent against a good opponent like Paul Craig. And if Craig wanted to get him to the ground that bad, I mean, he should have tried for a takedown too, but he didn't really. So, it went how it went. What else can I say? And that brings us to the co-main event. Charles Oliveira versus Michael Chandler. And I was thinking this was going to be an exciting fight. For the most part, it was. As you can see here, Charles Oliveira doing what he does with his striking. Accurate, damaging, and I wouldn't say precise, because precise is a bit more than accurate, I would say. And I'm not sure that he's full on that, but he's damn good. And there's no denying that. I mean, that striking has been great for him. But he always seems to get in trouble somehow, somewhere. And in the 5th round of this fight, he definitely got into a little bit of trouble. But before we even got there, he had Michael Chandler fucking with his running shoes on. I don't know why Chandler does this, but he does the whole butt to the cage bounce off thing. And like in this fight, more than any other time I've seen him do it, he kept trying to do that, and he missed a couple times. He was too far from the cage, kept doing the little butt bounce thing and looking like a dumbass. He almost fell a couple times doing it. I don't know what he was thinking, but regardless, he put on a decent display. For the most part, they got into this crazy thing where Charles was on his back. I mean, you see him with the body lock here at the bottom, but he was on his back while they were standing up, and Chandler stood up with him on his back, and he's playing to the crowd, and he was like, "Hey, fuck it," and he just jumps up and backwards and back bombs the shit out of Charles Oliveira. Charles just sinks everything in tighter, and then Chandler gets up and does it again. So that was exciting, that was fun, but it was pointless. It didn't do anything for him. But at that point, he lost the goddamn fight anyway. So what could it have done? Got him finished. I mean, it is what it is. Now Charles was on his back after that second slam and was sticking out his tongue, and he even kissed him on the shoulder, the cheek, like Merab Dvalishvili style, except less disrespectful, because Chandler acknowledged him and actually went like this on his hand, like, "Good job, buddy, good job." But it looked like he tapped, so everybody was all confused, as there was excitement because he tapped, but then he didn't actually tap. It was just like a good job, man. Like good sportsmanship type stuff. This was at the end of the fight. So yeah, it was kind of weird. It was a weird thing to do. Chandler probably should have paid attention a little more to that one, but at that point, again, he lost regardless. And yeah, it was a unanimous decision win for Charles Oliveira. And here this was a dope picture from both angles. I thought pretty sick, but like I said, completely bypassed Donald Trump. I don't know why, but there's all kinds of speculation about that or whatever, but it is what it is. I just thought these were some dope pics after he won, walking out the cage. And then afterward, we find out he had a knee injury. He tore or burst 2 ligaments in his knee before the fight, I guess. So leading up to the fight, or I think, or in the fight. I'm not exactly sure which one it was. Either way, still pretty impressive that he went through with the fight, whether he was injured during it or before it, and came out with the big win. So Charles Oliveira, Charlie Olives. Now we get to the main event. Stipe Miocic versus Jon Jones. And if you don't like Jon Jones, that's a satisfying picture because Stipe got a good, nice hit on him, but that's one of the very few that he got. So it doesn't do much, and it doesn't hold up much. But Stipe did get a couple shots in there. But for the most part, this was all Jon Jones, as a lot of people expected. With Stipe being older, already talking about this being his last fight. He's got one foot out the door. And, you know, he's coming off of losses. Jon Jones is coming off a big win. Fast win over Cyril Gane, who's an impressive opponent. And, you know, this is just what everyone thought was going to happen. And I knew it was going to go. If I would have bet on the prop bet, I would have won that for sure. But actually, I think that was part of my parlay, was for them to go over 2.5, and that cashed easily because it went to the 3rd round. But yeah, Jon Jones just proven that he's the GOAT. As much as I hate saying it, he had, you know, this nasty spinning back kick to the ribs, and that finished off Stipe. Before that, he stumbled in with some good combinations on the feet with his hands. He did land a couple other spinning back kicks earlier in the fight, and this one was just the nail in the coffin. And Jon Jones, you know, finishes him with that kick, falls to the ground. Stipe falls to the ground, and Jones follows up with some ground and pound to finish it off. I made a nice little collection of clips from the 3rd round, which I thought was the most impressive by Jon Jones. You know, it went 4 minutes and 29 seconds, so almost a full 3rd round happened. And I mean, that's where all of his best shots were landed, I think. He did do this crazy little like trip in, what was it, the second? I think it was the 2nd round or the 1st round. I don't remember. One of the first 2 rounds, obviously, because this was ended in the 3rd. But he did this crazy little trip where it was like a schoolyard trip where like the bully just knows he can throw the guy he's picking on, so he does it. But he like stuck his foot out, grabbed Stipe by the head, and slams him on the ground. It's pretty crazy. Visually, that was nice. But technically, I mean, it didn't really. It just showed how much of an advantage he had over Stipe, I guess. But yeah, big win for Jon Jones, looking like the GOAT that he is. And then he does the Trump dance. Push. There we go. Kicked his liver down the street. It's the opposite side of the liver, but I would say kicked his rib down the street. But yeah, Jones did the Trump dance, pointed at him and waved at him and did the heart thing. It's funny. Jones looking like a beast though, man. Some of these pictures, I was kind of impressed. And then, you know, of course, he retains his belt, so that's a nice picture there of getting the belt wrapped around him. And then Stipe retires. As we all knew he was going to. I mean, unless he won and wanted to prove a little more, defend a little more or something like that, we all kind of already knew that Stipe was on his way out, and this was his last fight. He said it multiple times. So thanks again to Stipe Miocic for, you know, a hell of a career. I mean, defended his belt multiple, probably the most out of anybody in the heavyweight division right now. I think that's a legit stat. And yeah, a lot of big fights, a lot of good fights. Regardless of what anybody says about him, he was a damn good champion and a damn good fighter. So Jones the GOAT, soon to beat Aspinall. He says ASSPINA. That's funny. Juice Man 562. Props, man. That shit was funny. I don't know. That is a thing. Jones versus Aspinall. I feel like Aspinall is going to be faster, but Jon Jones has that experience, man. You can just see the pure professional that he is. You know what I mean? Like the definition of a professional. That's why they call him the GOAT, because he just makes it look easy in there. And we've seen him blunder a couple times with, you know, bullshit fights like against Dominic Reyes, who a lot of people thought he lost to. One of the fights against Gustafsson that a lot of people thought he lost to. And a lot of that has to do with his bad shit going on outside of the cage, and, you know, bad training and partying too much and shit. But man, he looked damn good against Stipe. But is that because Stipe looked old? Is that because Stipe looked, you know, way out of sorts because he hasn't been in there in so long, because he has one foot out the door already? He wanted, when he retired, I mean, when Rogan talked to him afterwards, I mean, he tried to take off his gloves and just said fuck it and walked out the cage. But, you know, he didn't even take off his gloves and put him in the cage or nothing like that. When Rogan asked him how he felt about it being his last fight and everything, he said, good, I'm glad. He's like, I'm retired, it's done, it's over, thank God. So, you know, he definitely was ready to retire. He was all about it. Yes, Aspinall's faster, but Jones has way more experience, way more IQ. Tom is good though, but man, everyone making it seem like Jon Jones has no chance. Yeah, no, I don't agree with that at all. I don't agree with Jones having no chance. I think it's a damn good matchup. Like I said, I think Aspinall is very fast, very talented, but he doesn't have the schedule that Jon Jones has had. The strength of schedule, the fucking legends that Jon Jones has beat. So again, as to your point, Juice Man 562, fucking the experience and the fight IQ that Jon Jones has is out of this world. So can that alone overcome what Aspinall has to give? I mean, that's what we're gonna see, I hope. I give Aspinall a chance. I don't just write him off, but it's gonna be hard to beat Jon Jones in the state that he's in now, unless this was Stipe just showing his age and his ring rust and his willingness to be done. And then, you know, it doesn't look that good for Jones, because stuff like that happens sometimes. You fight the older guy who's a little bit slower and ready to be done, wants to get out of there. Maybe that's why it looks so good, but you can't Clash of the Titans. Yeah, for sure. I mean, you can't understate the abilities and talent of Jon Jones, as we just, you know, noted. But like, what's he gonna do against the younger, faster guy who is on his way up, super hungry and ready to prove a point? That's always dangerous. So that's my only point. I think it's gonna be great. I can't wait for that one. I called it in when people were talking about it before. I was like, you know what? If somebody asked me when I thought they would put that together, I said, more than likely because of Jon Jones and how he likes to keep his schedule, it probably won't be till International Fight Week, like July of next year. I don't see them fighting any sooner than that. And that's kind of what I've heard. Those are the rumblings right now. But I'm all money in with Jones. If you had to put your house up, who you betting on if you had to? Give you a sub. Oh, thanks, Juice Man. Appreciate that. And you know what, man? I agree with you. If putting money on it, I'd have to put my money on Jon Jones. And that's not just me agreeing with you to agree with you. That is how I feel. I just feel like Aspinall has a very good chance to upset there, so you can make some money on that shit too. Because if Aspinall comes in as an underdog. But yeah, I mean, if I'm putting a lot of shit on the line that matters, I'm going with Jon Jones too. I'm not the biggest Jon Jones fan, but I can't deny his talent. I can't deny everything he has to give. So for sure, I would put it on Jon Jones. So thanks again for the sub though, Juice Man. Appreciate that. And that's it. Stipe did make a post after the fact just saying Let me start this post by saying I am good. Been through a lot worse. I hope everybody enjoyed the show on Saturday. What an incredible way to go out. I started this journey fighting in local bowling alleys and ended selling out Madison Square Garden. It truly doesn't get better than that. Sorry I didn't get the W, but you can't get them all. Sometimes it's not your night. That's in the nature of the beast. You can't plan a perfect ending in this sport, but I guess the perfect ending is to have been lucky enough to have done it all. You all have given me so much, and I hope I did you all proud. Croatia and Cleveland, Ohio especially, I felt all of you with me at every battle. So Stipe with some good words there. That's why he's a good dude, man. I mean, regardless of anything, if you might not like him or whatever, you can't deny what he did throughout his career. He was a great champion. And yeah, has always been talked about in all the big fights. So hopefully he moves on and just is happy. He's a full-time firefighter. He's a good, big family man. So, you know, hopefully all that goes well for him and he's safe out there fighting those fires. Appreciate all the memories and good fights, Stipe. I watched him live in Phoenix when they were here, when he fought Junior Dos Santos. It was a hell of a fight. That was the first time I ever saw Stipe. It was dope. So appreciate that memory as well. And yeah, Stipe's a legend for sure. Juice Man said it, and I agree. So thanks, Stipe. That's it for UFC 309. Let's hit this UFC Macau card and get the fuck out of here. But you know, we can't have all really crazy good fights, but these are two good fights at the top of this card. This is one of those cards that's happening overseas in Macau. So I mean, what can you say? There's gonna be a lot of fighters that are from that area that we don't know. If you watch Road to the UFC, they have a Chinese version. They have like Brazil. They have all kinds of shit. So, you know, this is one of those events that is kind of a capper for those like fights and stuff. So there's a lot of fights going on. So you're not going to recognize a lot of these fighters unless you're like deep. I'm not that deep into it. I get pretty deep into all this stuff, but that's hardcore. I wish I had the time for that, because I probably would be that deep into it if I didn't have anything else I had to do. Or I should say, if I got paid for this, I might know a little more. Maybe one day. Anyway, a lot of fucking hard names to pronounce here. But what's up, Magic's in the chat. Thanks for joining in. Jan versus Fig sucks for me in a sense, because I'm a fan of them both. I want to see them both succeed, but unfortunately that's how it works. I'll be tuned in. May the best man win. Juice Man, appreciate that. Yeah, that's a good take. I think I like them both as well. I mean, I respect what Jan does as a fighter. I don't like him as a guy very much. He's one of those dudes that he's just kind of annoying. I don't know what it is. Something annoys me about him. You know, I know everybody hated on Aljamain Sterling for winning the belt like he did, even though he defended it a few times legitimately, even against Peter Yan. So, but I think Jan's a great fighter. I just feel like that shit got in his head pretty bad. He went on a pretty shitty losing streak after that. So, I mean, I just feel like that really fucked with his head, and that's understandable. But I don't know. There's just the way that he acts a little bit. I think it's just because he also reminds me of a dude I used to hate back in the day. That's some petty shit. But some, you know, that those memories, man, they stay up there. And when you hate somebody's face and then you get someone that looks like them, it sticks. That's some shit. I don't know. It's funny though. But then in the co-main, but Davison Figueiredo, I mean, shit, former multiple time champion in the flyweight division, multiple wars with Brandon Moreno, you know, lost a belt, won a belt, lost a belt, good career in the flyweight division. Now he's up in bantamweight fighting guys like Peter Yan. Looked pretty good in his last fight too. And then we got the co-main with Yan Xiaonan versus that girl with the ass. Tabitha Ricci. Go look at her Instagram. You will not be disappointed. Holy shit. Do yourself a favor. Oh, that's not fair. Just because he looks like someone. The only person I despise in this division is Oselli. Man, Juice Man with the names. That's funny, man. You got a nickname for everybody. I like that. I understand with the O'Malley stuff. Or O'Sally as you called him. No, I know it's not fair. That's why it's funny. Because it's not fair. But honestly, some of the ways that he like carries himself is what bothers me a little bit. But man, he's a good fighter. And I do really feel bad for him I mean, it was his fault. He did knee Aljo in the head. Whether Aljo played it up or not, it was a foul and it was an illegal strike. So he unfortunately lost his belt to that shit. And it got in his head. And it got in his head bad. So I do feel bad for him on that point. So yeah, you're right. Not fair. But, you know, it's kind of funny still. Let's see. Richie got it for sure. Yeah, just, dude. Yeah, you gotta go look. And you know what? Be on the lookout for those weigh-ins because it's always a good show when Tav the Richie's involved. You won't be disappointed. Go look up Tav the Richie on Instagram. You'll be grateful. Baby Shark. Okay, so Maheshate Hayasar versus Nicholas Mota in the lightweight division to start off the prelims. Yeah, the weigh-ins. Yeah, see, Juice Man knows what's up. Long Xiao versus Quang Li in the bantamweight division. Loner Kavanaugh versus Jose Ochoa in the flyweight division. That's a 7-0 versus 7-0 undefeated fighters against each other. Someone's always got to go, in the words of fucking Conor McGregor. So that should be a good one though. And I'm assuming that's an Irish fighter there with the last name of Kavanaugh. So it's fitting. Another undefeated fighter with a fucking impossible name. Naya Majargal Tumen Dembaro. That is fucked. Too many letters that don't go together and very hard to pronounce. Versus Carlos Hernandez. Just a simple fucking name. In the flyweight division, whatever that dude's name is 8-0. Carlos Hernandez 9-4. Ming Shai versus Zhao Kan Fang in the women's strawweight division. Kierendip Singh Sota versus Dong Hun Choi in the flyweight division. Hung Choi is Dong Hun Choi. Yeah, wow. Choi is 8-0, so that's an undefeated fighter there. I can't say these fucking names, man. This is too much. Jai Laisi Bargang versus Su Young Yu in the bantamweight division. I'm sorry, man. I'm fucking murdering these names. But they're tough to say. Luckily, that's the end of the prelims. I'm gonna stop. We gotta go through the rest of the card though. I picked Don Han on Tapology. Okay. Oh yeah. You did the picks. I got you. Dong Han. Okay. I think that's who you're talking about. I was trying to go back and see the names because wow. Those are tough to say and tough to remember. But anyway, here we are at the main event. The main card. Ozzy Diaz. There's your Osman Diaz, but he goes by Ozzy apparently. That's an easy name. Versus Ming Yang Zhang. Diaz is 9-2. This is his UFC debut. So he's 9-2 overall in MMA. 7-2 by KO TKO. 2-0 by sub. No wins or losses in decision. He won his last two fights. Zhang is 17-6 overall, 1-0 in the UFC, 11-3. The butcher of names. Yeah, I know. I don't deny that. 11-3 by KO TKO, 6-2 by sub, and 0-1 in decision. He is coming off a win. Team Tenez, what's up? Thanks for the stream. Keep up the good work. Hey, I appreciate that, Team Tenez. I always recognize that name when they come in. I don't even know who that is, but I appreciate the support, and every time I see that name, for some reason it sticks with me. So, and there's always good words too, so I appreciate that. Juice Man picked Zhang. All right. That's a good pick, I think. But you know, some of these guys come in on their debut and looking to make some moves, you know, make shit look good in their first fight, so they come out guns blazing, might get them knocked out or might knock somebody out. Always a good thing. So we'll be on the lookout for that. Moving on to Volkan Ozdemir versus Carlos Ulberg, two fighters we all know here. Volkan, badass, 20-7 overall, 8-6 in the UFC. Not a great record there, but he is a great fighter. 13-2 KO TKOs, 2-2 in subs, 5-3 in decisions. He's on a 2-fight win streak. Carlos Ulberg is a fucking animal though. 10-1 overall, 6-1 in the UFC, 7-1 by KO TKO, 1-0 in subs, 2-0 by decision. He's on a 6-fight win streak, looking like a fucking beast. I don't know. Anytime I've ever tried to say that Ulberg is not going to win, he fucking dominates. So I stopped picking against Ulberg about 3 fights ago. I think it was about 3 fights ago. I'm going to look at that real quick. Yes, against Ihor Pretoria, exactly. That is exactly what I was thinking of. Before that, I kept picking against him, and he's on a fucking huge win streak, and I don't know why I was picking against him. His last loss was in 2021 over Kennedy and Zechiku. So, but yeah, this should be a good fight. Volkan Ozdemir is a badass too. So I think this will be a good fight, but I don't think it's going to get past the first round because both these guys are heavy hitters and both of them can end it early. So should be a good one here. Moving on to the women, Kong Wang versus Gabriela Fernandez. Wang is 6-0 in MMA, 1-0 in the UFC. 2 wins by KO, TKO, 2 wins by sub, 2 wins by decision. No losses in any of those because she is undefeated overall. And I just put the 1 win, but she's technically on a 6-fight win streak. Gabriela Fernandez, 9-3 overall, 1-2 in the UFC. Not a good record there, but 2-0 by KO, TKO, 3-0 by sub, 4-3 in decisions. She's also coming off a win. Fernandez with that win over Carly Judas. That was a split decision win back in June of this year. And Kong Wang's only fight in the UFC was a win over Victoria Leonardo. And that was back in August of this year. So two newer fighters to the UFC. And that should be a good fight in the women's. What division is that? Flyweight division. That moves us on to Kenan Song versus Muslim Selikov. I think this is going to be a good one for sure. Fucking Song is a good fighter, but Selikov is always involved in a fucking crazy fight. So I think this should be a good one in their welterweight division. 22-8 for Song. 9-0 in subs, so no losses there. 4-4 decision, 9-4 KO TKO, 6-4 UFC record though. Shit. But 7-4 for Muslim Selikov. You wouldn't think that these guys are anything really just by looking at their records, but I mean, when they have good fights, you remember them. 12-2 by KO TKO, 3-2 by sub, 5-1 by decision. Both of them coming off of wins. Kenan Song coming off a win over Ricky Glenn back in August. He's got kind of a win-loss. He fought Ian Gary before and lost, obviously, because Ian Gary's undefeated. So he has a couple big names under his name. Muslim Selikov is coming off a win over Santiago Ponzinibbio. Before that, he was on a 2-fight losing streak with losses to Nicholas Dalby and Randy Brown. But I mean, he's got a win over Andre Fiallo, lost to the Leech, win over Francisco Trinaldo, and Elizu Zaleski dos Santos. So some pretty decent wins right there for Selikov. So I don't know. I feel like this would be a pretty good fight, actually. And that brings us to the co-main event: Yan Xiaonan versus Tabitha Ricci. And those assets. Women's strawweight division. Yan Xiaonan coming off her title fight loss to Weili Zhang. She's 18-4 overall, 8-3 in the UFC, 8-1 by KO TKO, 1-1 by sub, and 9-2 in decisions. Again, coming off that loss in the title fight that she was in. Tabitha Ricci 11-2 overall, 6-2 in the UFC, 1-1 by KO, TKO, 3-0 by sub, 7-1 by decision. She's on a 2-fight win streak. And Yan Xiaonan, before that Weili Zhang fight, she beat Jessica Andrade and Mackenzie Dern. As you can see, this is Claudia Gadelha and Karolina Kowalkiewicz, but it's surprising how many pictures you find of Yan Xiaonan doing this to girls. Just punching them in the fucking face hard with that straight left or right, and catching that chin like this big shot against Mackenzie Dern, one of her last wins. But yeah, Ricci for sure is who I'm going for as well, Infinity, but for maybe different reasons. But this is going to be a tough fight against Yan Xiaonan. It's going to be tough because Xiaonan is aggressive and has really good striking, really good on her feet. But Tabitha Ricci's really good on the ground. So she needs to probably get this one to the ground to have a good chance of winning this fight. She's been involved in some wars where she's come back and done well, but at the same time, she's been dominated before too. Her last 2 fights were wins against Tisha Pennington and Angela Hill. Her last loss was against Lupe Godinez back in November of last year. She has 2 fights this year with 2 wins this year, so she's looking to make it 3. It's the same reason. Yeah. Her last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fights were decisions. 2 out of those 5. That's 4. The fuck am I talking about? I can't count. 2 unanimous decisions, 2 split decisions. And there's a submission in there somewhere. So, a lot of decisions, but that's what you get with the women. I mean, but she's good on the ground. She's got good striking. She's got some good legs and stuff. So good power behind those punches is what I mean. But definitely a good ground game. So if she can get it to the ground against Yan Xiaonan, she'll have a better chance of winning this one. And that's what I'm hoping for. But and that'll catapult her to, on her way to a title shot, hopefully soon. If she keeps up with this win streak, and especially beating somebody like Yan Xiaonan, who just fought for the title. So in all seriousness, though, I am going for Tabitha Ricci here for lots of reasons. But yeah, it's still my pick. So moving on to the main event, we got powerful stuff. Infinity knows. Peter Yan versus Davison Figueiredo in the men's bantamweight division. Peter Yan, 17-5 overall, 9-4 in the UFC, 7-0 by KO, TKO, 1-0 by sub, 9-4 by decision, coming off a win. Davison Figueiredo, 24-3 overall, 13-3 in the UFC, 9-1, 9-1, 6-1, KO, TKO, sub, decisions there. 1 loss in every category, but shit, that's it, 1 loss. So he's on a 3-fight win streak. Like I said, just moved up, I think 1 or 2 fights to go to the bantamweight division from the flyweight division. But we got Peter Yan. Here's that controversial shit, where he lost his belt. Like I was explaining earlier, talking to Juice Man in the chat about the fight against Aljamain Sterling, which, by the way, don't get me wrong, he was dominating the fuck out of that fight. Eljo was losing that fight big time. But then the illegal knee happened, which you see in that picture below. And, everything went to shit for Peter Yan. He lost his belt. Eljo didn't seem like he was happy to win the belt that way, but he did come back and try to shut down the haters. Figgy is a beast, moved up and making statements. Oh, no doubt. Especially when you come from a smaller division where you were kind of back and forth with wins and losses, and then you come up to the heavier weight and you do damn good. But, as the guys get older, they stop wanting to cut that weight too, and it's harder to cut that weight. So moving up a division is a good idea most of the time. So he's definitely proving that. But yeah, Peter Yan that's the illegal strike there. That lost him the belt, and he hasn't been the same since, but still putting on decent shows, with his last few fights. But look he went on that 3-fight losing streak where he lost the belt, but then he won against Corey Sandhagen, as you can see in that picture on top. Then he went on a 3-fight losing streak, losing to Eljo again when he fought for the belt, and then losing to Sean O'Malley, losing to Merab Dvalishvili, who's now the champ. And then, but then his last win or his last fight was a win against Song Yadong. So, I mean, he still has what it takes to get wins. He's looking to get more wins and beat a big name like Davison Figueiredo. If Figgy was O'Sally, they would have been skipped. Fight to the title fight 2 fights ago. Yeah, I hear you, man. I know what you're saying. Figgy, though, with his last 3 fights, being on that 3-fight win streak, like I said, Marlon Chito Vera, Cody Garbrandt, Rob Font, last 3 fights, all wins. 1 submission over Cody Garbrandt, unanimous decisions over Chito Vera, Rob Font. His last loss being that title fight against Brandon Moreno back in January of 2023. Figgy's talented as fuck, man, especially getting that last win over Chito Vera. Chito did not look like himself in that fight, man. But regardless, impressive shit for Figgy to come out and get that win. Big win over Chito there. You can see him landing punches on the now champion Alexandre Pantoja, and then Brandon Moreno. Of course, they went to war multiple times. So yeah, should be a good main event. Should be a good co-main event. Don't miss those fucking weigh-ins. I'm telling you, it's gonna be good shit. Especially near the co-main event area. Check it out. That's it for UFC Macau. That's it for me. Juice Man says Figgy got a resume, no doubt. Certified Hall of Famer. Oh, fuck yeah. Especially with all those title wins and those wars with Brandon Moreno. Some of those fights are going to be in the UFC Hall of Fame for sure. But I guarantee Figgy will be there as well for himself. But yeah, that does it for me. Yeah, that's about it. Next week's going to be a little tricky because, as we know, we got Thanksgiving coming up. So I haven't decided 100% yet if I'm just going to pre-record a video just to go over near the Ricci area. Infinity. I don't know if I'm gonna just pre-record a kind of a recap of UFC Macau. That's more than likely what I'm gonna do, and just put it out on Thursday, maybe even earlier. Maybe I might just record it on Wednesday. Not Wednesday, but shit, I'd have to record it like Tuesday. Shit, that's gonna be tough. I don't know. Maybe I'll record it Thursday during the day. Who knows? Be on the lookout. Listen, if you're not subscribed, do that now. Juice Man said he subbed, so I appreciate that. If you're not subscribed already, do that now. Hit that notification bell and you'll know exactly when I either go live or put out a new video. So that'll be good for next week while we're all celebrating Thanksgiving and eating turkey and whatnot, having time with family. Should all be good. Everybody have a good Thanksgiving. Don't forget the fights this week. And except I forgot to mention, they're happening at like very early in the morning because it's happening in China. So yeah, you might want to just catch that replay because that'll be damn early. So who knows? Either way, fight's happening on Saturday. You can go try to find that Misfits boxing event with Darren Till. O'Sally is a bitch made coochie. All right, Juice Man. Thanks for tuning in, man. Thanks for all the interaction too. I appreciate that. But that Misfits boxing with Darren Till fighting Tommy Fury is happening this weekend, I guess, as well. I think, maybe. I could be mistaken, but I don't even know. Who cares? All I know is it's supposed to be happening at some point. I think it's down the road a bit, though. Yeah, now that I think about it. Either way, UFC Macau. Oh, shit, I didn't do that, did I? Hey, Infinity just reminded me of something. I want to say thank you to my sponsor, Noctane Smelling Salts. Appreciate the sponsorship. Hit that QR code. Go check it out. I didn't even do any. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking. I was caught up. Thanks, Infinity, though. But yeah, Noctane Smelling Salts. That's my sponsor. Check it out. Go check out their website. It's a pretty dope website. Pretty informative. And smelling salts are fun. They're good. Keep me alive. Keep me awake. Keep me alert. And yeah, I like using them. I use them all the time. So, and Infinity does too. He got himself a bottle and he's enjoying those as well. So that's it for me. I'm out of here. Take it easy. Have a good Thanksgiving. I'm out. Peace.